Hello and welcome to the Crux. Today, we are joined by the fascinating Jennifer Murphy, who is an author, mega high-end private investigator. In your spare time, you were an EMT during COVID in New York City and wrote a fantastic book about it, which you should all read, called First Responder. But today, I want to talk to you about the work that you do in crisis management. You've told me in the past that your job is to see around corners, which of course I love. This to me implies a predictive element, but would you say that in the preventative part of your job, you're looking at the landscape of potential problems and setting up structures to mitigate the specific risks of a particular circumstance even before it emerges?
Great question. Yes, I think the answer is yes and yes. We're certainly trying to, on the predictive side, kind of look to the future based on what we've experienced, the cases we've seen, I specialize in things that go wrong on the internet broadly, the kind of kitchen drawer of that. So there are certain things we've seen before. But on the preventative side, which I wish we did more of, honestly, oftentimes we're often building the plane while it's in the air, but
or while it's crashing.
or after it's crashed or while it's crashing. Turbulence for sure.
Turbulence, yeah. Turbulence. Volatility.
Yeah. But yeah, we're trying to set up structures and protocols and systems and language and policies, all of that for preventing disasters that we've seen before, with an understanding that everything we prepare for then comes along something we've never seen.
Which, I mean, perfect parallel to the markets, right? Like often clients don't hear from their advisors until the one of the engines is out on the airplane, right? And then, as one might, they make bad decisions during that period because it's terrifying, and there's a lot of cleanup to be done and things to be fixed. And that, I think, what you mentioned about there not being as much preventative work as there could be, I think that's really interesting. And I wonder, I've got a new branch for you in your business, the preventative part.
I mean, look, we try to grow out that branch. The things are called the peacetime digital disaster preparedness. It's always, as you mentioned, like something's wrong in the air.
Right.
Not always. It's just the way humans are wired. I think people listen when things go wrong.
Yeah. And when things are going fine, why would you need to, it's the build a roof when it's not raining. I don't need to. It's not raining.
Right.
Is there anything that all crises have in common?
Yes. I think across sectors and through the variety of cases we see, all crises, I think, I'm trying to phrase this correctly. Anatomically, usually when people or organizations are in crisis, they've been forced into a kind of position of humility. And so they're often desperate, if not desperate, urgently seeking help. They want to listen. They want guidance, strategic counsel. They're open-minded. And that is what they all have in common. In addition to the fact that they all seem to happen either when I take a trip or when it's after hours.
Right. Okay. So forced humility, and you work with like the titans of the world. And so to see those people forced into humility must be kind of interesting because many of them are public figures. But, we all get forced into humility sometimes. And it's usually because we weren't prepared. And would you say made a mistake or just weren't prepared?
I think we see it all. We see some man-made disasters, but nature has its way and the internet has its way. And sometimes people say there's like a major incident, but they're kind of splashed with that incident and they had nothing to do with it, or they have the same name as someone who's in a major incident. And that creates a cascading set of, it's so wide. So I never want to give clients the sense of everything's 100% preventable. It's just not realistic. You're in the financial sector. The market has correction. It's the nature of the market. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. And to pretend like you can, absolutely avoid self-injury or harming others or anything, it's kind of like saying, well, you can fall in love but never have a broken heart. It's not possible.
Well, Jen getting poetic on us. I like it. I mean, the way we think of it is like there's a sort of inner circle of things that you've experienced in your life as an investor or as a person, and you can kind of prepare for those because you know what they are.
Sure.
Then there's the next circle of things you've read about, right? Like I've read a lot about the Great Depression or the Nifty 50 in the early 70s and late 60s and what went down there. And then there's infinity other things that can go wrong. Right. Yeah. I like that. What advice do you have for people to never have to hire you? How do you ruin your own business?
I wouldn't be sobbing if my business was ruined. I enjoy my career, but it's not the crux of who I am as a person. I don't know that I like the phrase never and always. I try to avoid. I have a joke that I say to friends when they call me with a problem of like, everyone calls me eventually. So I think there's certain things you can do to protect yourself or safeguard from risk. Like the internet is not neutral. Find a place to stand. Like, are you a public figure? Are you a private individual? Are you wanting to hide from the internet? Are you wanting to become a brand ambassador? Like, are you an investor? What are you trying to do? And then put the guardrails around that. Stay away from extremes, pay attention to your internet privacy. That stuff changes all the time. AI is here. Pay attention. Like, again, learn the tools, use the tools, find a place to stand.
Okay.
One more thing I will say is like my latest pain point just as a business leader is that I think we have kind of lost hold of privacy in America. And I think it would be great to just kind of re-embrace this notion that we all deserve some semblance of a private life, and that silly cat 456 on the internet doesn't get to see my family album, Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, most of what you said today, if you swapped in the market for the internet, would still be applicable, and I think is fascinating from a just a crisis management perspective. Like, we all need to manage crises as best as we can preventatively before they happen in all parts of our lives. And being private, I think, is an interesting part of that, or maybe reintroducing privacy to one's life.
I don't know, like you were saying, financially, you mentioned before, sometimes people, like if the market gets scary, they'll pull their money out. That's an overcorrection. And you see that in my field too, where people get scared, something bad has happened. And so they want to go to the other extreme. The extremes are where we want to stay away from in general. We want to kind of guide them toward the middle.
Yeah, avoiding the extremes, avoiding the, double leveraged Mag 7 stocks or hiding in the mattress. One has to be in the world to experience things. One has to be invested to grow, but to mitigate that risk as much as possible from destruction. Right. Of person and assets.
While still trying to grow and be who you are in your humanity, in your field, in your family, with kind of like your eyes open. That's all I would say. Eyes open.
Eyes open. All right.
Let's not close our eyes.
Yeah. Well, let's close this on not closing our eyes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Always great to talk to you.
Thank you.
Take care.